Okay, so I mentioned before that the city of Bend is looking to implement some new rules and new changes. And well, now that it's the beginning of 2023, well, they did implement those changes. So what do you want to hear? Do you want to hear my personal opinion? Do you want to hear the opinion of our local association of realtors? Or do you want to hear directly from the city councilors themselves? I've got emails to prove it. Yikes. Yeah, let's just get into it and see what we see, shall we? Hey guys, welcome. John Kromm here from the Kromm Real Estate Team, your source for all things Central Oregon real estate related. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is STRs. That's short-term rentals here in Bend. You know, like Airbnbs and Verbos and Booking. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Vacation homes. Anyways, now if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that Shannon and I do actually own a couple of short-term rentals in the area, so we do have a dog in the fight here. And if you've been keeping your eye on the market nationally, you know that there are a lot of other cities and municipalities that are cracking down on short-term rentals. And with this last move by the city of Bend, they're no exception. So, quick history lesson. Back before 2015, property owners who owned second homes in the downtown Bend area, or other early adopters of this Airbnb kind of following here, would buy homes in the downtown Bend area and turn them into profitable short-term rentals. Now, this was way before STRs were a big popular thing. It was before it was on most people's radar, certainly before it was even on my radar. The city of Bend started getting complaints from all of these people that live downtown on all these rentals that were coming up. So back in 2015, the city of Bend implemented these new rules. They grandfathered in everybody that was already doing it, but they said, look, moving forward, you have to be further than 250 feet away from anybody else that's doing an STR. And that's been the status quo for the last 7 or 8 years. However, it turns out that 250 feet was not far enough away because no one really knew just how popular these were going to become. Fast forward to now, and we are almost nearly entirely fully saturated with STRs. Almost every 250 feet, there's an STR where they are, able to be had. There are some neighborhoods that don't allow them no matter what you do, and obviously there aren't any in those neighborhoods. But anywhere that you can have an STR, we are almost completely saturated. And apparently neighbors are not happy. And the city council, feeling the pressure from Bend residents, I assume that's the case. The city council member Barb Campbell exchanged emails with me as an explanation as to why they're doing this. And she said, and I quote, she just wants to get her neighborhood back because there are too many STRs there. So I don't know if they actually heard from a large contingent of Bend residents complaining. It's not like in the meetings they said we get, 200 emails a week from people complaining about STRs, and they certainly didn't hold up a stack of letters. So I don't actually know if they're getting a ton of feedback from City of Bend residents. Maybe they are, maybe you're nodding to the computer going, yes, I sent in plenty of emails, I hate the STRs in the area. But they didn't actually offer any of that up as proof. She just said that she wanted her neighborhood back. So is that her personal goal, or is that the will of the people of the city of Bend? I don't know. I don't really personally think it's right that the city of Bend can basically unilaterally take away people's private property rights to do what they want with their property. I understand it happens all the time with HOAs and CC&Rs. I get that, I'm in the industry, but I don't necessarily agree with it. So let's see, around the middle of last year, they proposed, and then at the end of 2022, just a few months ago, they actually approved basically essentially doubling that spacing limit from 250 feet away to 500 feet away. Now, because we were nearly saturated with the 250 foot rule, it's not likely to actually change the amount of new STRs that are going to be born, if you will, newly permitted STRs. There wasn't gonna be that many anyway, because like I said, we were almost nearly fully saturated. But what will happen eventually over time is the thinning out of the current existing STRs. You see, as people go to sell, people maybe STRs aren't their thing, maybe they started one a year ago and they're like, man, this is hard. It's not making the money I thought. As they go to sell that home, the new buyer may think that they're buying an STR, but of course that property will have to re-qualify under that 250-foot rule, now a 500-foot rule. So if it doesn't requalify because the footprint of distance between others has been made bigger, then it won't be allowed to be an STR moving forward. Essentially meaning that over time, we will probably see fewer and fewer STRs in Bend. Now, is this a good thing for Bend? Some of you may be nodding your head yes. Maybe some of you who have STRs will be like, yeah, there'll be less competition moving forward. Some of you who are looking to buy STRs are gonna go, no, man, that's gonna make it harder. Look, I'll leave that all up to you. Obviously, you know I probably have my own personal opinions, but I'm just gonna leave that out for right now. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think. It might be a fun little Discord down below. Moving on. Okay, the next thing I've also talked about that the city is doing in their endless pursuit to curb climate change, yeah, that's why they're doing this next one, is to implement a home energy score that will be required for anyone moving forward who wants to sell their house. That's right. If you're gonna be selling your own personal property or maybe even an investment property here in the city, moving forward, you will need to have a home inspector come out and basically do a home energy score on your property. The purpose is to be able to disclose how energy efficient your house is or how much energy it actually uses. And what happens is you basically get a score, it's 1 through 10, and that's what you'll get to report to all prospective buyers as they come to look at your house. All for the understanding of how green the house is. Our local association of realtors believes that this is a costly and unfairly assessed burden upon property sellers, and that a single-digit score won't actually do anything to really curb climate change. Through their outreach, at one point in time, it was actually thought as though the city council might elect to have this home energy score remain optional. But then again, after the election happened back in November, City Council only basically fortified their numbers and their resolve for this particular plan of action and unanimously passed it back at the end of 2022. So as I said before, per this new requirement, anybody who is selling their home, I think it actually takes effect in July, will have to pay a couple of $100s to have an inspector come in before the home hits the market, do this home energy score assessment before putting the home on the market. Think of it like having an actual inspection. Most buyers do this after they get in contract, but occasionally sellers will have a pre-listing inspection done. That's what you'll be doing with this home energy score. And one of the craziest kickers to this whole thing, and it was actually one of the subjects of one of my videos earlier, is that if you don't do this and you just sell your house without posting the energy score and skip town, the city will actually put a warrant out for your arrest. And if you got arrested, it could end up as being a misdemeanor on your record. Like crazy. So again, super information for all prospective sellers out there. Speaking of which, if you are thinking about selling anytime in the near future, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. Feel free to reach out to us at krommrealestate.com and we would love to connect with you. Well, I'd love to say that I wish that was all, but we have one more thing that we do need to talk about that the city's looking to implement, hasn't yet, but will be. Actually, it's kind of a funny situation where they're actually reducing requirements, which is usually pretty good news, right? The city of Bend, and I will say that it's not necessarily their own doing, it's actually coming from the state of Oregon, will soon be removing parking requirements from building codes. So, you're building a house and builders are required to put in, garages, driveways, sometimes on-street parking, depending on the kind of build, the kind of street frontage, etc., right? Well, the city is going to be removing some of those parking requirements. So you might be able to build a commercial building or even a residential building without any actual parking requirements. Doesn't that sound fun? All right, I'm just gonna leave that there for now because we are running out of time. I am sure we will talk about these parking requirements later on in the future. Friends, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. As you know, we're getting close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We would love to hit that goal before the end of the first quarter of 2023 here. If you are thinking of buying or selling in the Central Oregon area, we would love to be your resource of choice. Feel free to reach out to us at krommrealestate.com. And again, be sure to check out our other videos and we will see you next week. Cheers. But then again, after the struggle bus.